The woman strutted onto my land like she'd bought it at auction yesterday. Red bottom heels dug into the ranch dirt, her polished briefcase shining so clean I could see the barn reflected in it. She didn't flinch when my dogs barked from the porch. She simply stood at my front gate, arms crossed, grinning like the universe owed her a favor. I remember thinking, here we go, as I ducked under an oak branch, wiped sweat from my brow, and walked toward her. Her blazer screamed city money. Her voice, though, was pure HOA, sharp, entitled, and rehearsed. She held out a thick envelope, announcing the beginning of a battle she thought she'd already won. Inside was a lawsuit stamped with the HOA seal, accusations of unauthorized structures, visual disharmony, lack of permits. All the buzzwords they used to scare people into submission. The woman's name was Samantha Keene, legal counsel for Clear Meadow Estates. She carried the smugness of someone who believed her clipboard gave her more power than the law itself. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't an easy target. My name is Thomas Grant. I'm 68 years old, and I spent 3 decades as Texas's Attorney General, fighting overreaching bureaucrats and corporate bullies. After retirement, I returned to my grandfather's 80-acre ranch, a place of hard work, open sky, and the freedom that only land can bring. I rebuilt the old barn, restored the house, raised a flagpole for the American and Texas flags, and figured I'd spend my last years in peace. For a while, that's exactly how it was. But then, Clear Meadow Estates was built half a mile away, and along with it came Janet Holloway, their HOA president. She believed her community's authority extended beyond its borders. First came the letters, complaints about my barn's color, my solar panels, my flagpole. Neighbors whispered. Strangers parked nearby and snapped photos. Even my gate was bent one morning, tire tracks leading away like someone had tried to ram it. At first, I brushed it off. My ranch wasn't under their jurisdiction. The property records were clear. But Janet and her board weren't the type to quit. They hired Samantha Keene to escalate things, hoping fear and paperwork would do what intimidation hadn't. They miscalculated. I studied the lawsuit line by line and recognized every weakness. Their accusations leaned entirely on HOA bylaws, which had no reach beyond their subdivision. The exemption protecting my land had been written decades ago by me. The case was a hollow threat. Still, I could see the pattern. They weren't after legal victory. They wanted to exhaust me, to isolate me, to pressure me until I gave up the land or bent to their control. Soon, the harassment escalated. A rock through my window with a warning note, bogus complaints filed with the county, and endless online posts painting me as a danger to the community. But I wasn't alone. My neighbor Chris Dawson, a young Army veteran, stood by me. He helped install cameras and motion detectors, ensuring every act of sabotage was recorded. The sheriff, Wade Mason, reminded me to document everything, and an old friend, Judge Elaine Porter, advised me to push back harder, to turn the law against those trying to weaponize it. That's when I filed my own civil harassment suit. Suddenly, the tables turned. A court order forbade the HOA from mentioning my name, let alone interfering with my property. It should have ended there, but desperate people make reckless choices. One night, someone set a fire behind my barn. The fire department managed to stop it, but their captain confirmed what I already knew. It was deliberate. That crossed the line from harassment into crime. I prepared every shred of evidence, the threats, the vandalism, the arson attempt, and presented it in court. The judge issued a permanent injunction, sent the files to the district attorney, and warned the HOA board that their behavior had escalated into criminal territory. Still, they pushed. They cut my fences, spread lies online, even tried to frame me with staged pesticide barrels. It was relentless, so I hired a private investigator, Frank Russo, who followed the money. What he uncovered blew the case wide open. Embezzled HOA funds, fraudulent consulting contracts tied to Samantha Keene's husband, and forged records signed by Janet herself. The corruption was deep and deliberate. We handed everything to the DA. Within weeks, investigators raided the HOA offices. Janet was arrested for fraud and embezzlement. Samantha lost her law license pending review. The empire they had built on fear and intimidation collapsed overnight. The ripple effect was immediate. Residents of Clear Meadow Estates, once too afraid to speak, began sharing their own stories. Fines for trivial violations, threats over landscaping, intimidation of families who questioned authority. For years, they had suffered in silence, thinking they had no choice. Now, they had proof that the system itself was rotten. Letters began arriving at my ranch. A single mother thanking me for standing up. A veteran who'd lost thousands to bogus fees. A child who drew me standing proudly in front of my red barn with the words, "Thank you for being brave." That little crayon drawing meant more to me than any legal victory. Eventually, Clear Meadow dissolved their HOA leadership entirely. New fair rules were drafted. Neighbors who had once whispered started smiling again. Even the county recognized the fight. They named a new park after me, a gesture of gratitude for showing that no one, not even a powerful HOA, is above the law. And life on the ranch? Peaceful, mostly. I still fly my flags every morning. I still walk the fence lines with my dogs, but I carry with me the reminder that peace doesn't mean silence. Peace is knowing you stood your ground when it mattered most. The truth is, HOAs don't own your spirit, your land, or your freedom. They only win when people let fear stop them from fighting back. So I ask you this, if you were in my boots, would you have walked away to keep things quiet? Or would you have fought back until the truth came out? Because sometimes justice just needs someone stubborn enough to swing back.